Hey guys, I am Adam. Welcome to the Vintage Sanctuary and Merry Christmas because I'm pretty sure this will be my last video until after Christmas. And this is a a video response for Jake, Legends Never Die. My faith in God is super important to me, so I really appreciate Jake's faith. He is my Christian brother. However, whether you are a person of faith or not, or have a different faith than I do, I am happy to be your friend, happy to connect with you. In fact, I've had lots of friends where we don't see eye to eye, and in some cases, we have discussed the taboo subjects, religion, politics, and the like, and done so in a way that is civil and respectful, listening to one another, even though we disagree. And I actually think that's really cool. In fact, I think that's very, very needed. In fact, I think it's a very Christian thing to do. So in this response, I will be sharing what I collect, and it's going to be a sampling of each type of thing that I collect. And this is subject to change. Some of these collections may go by the wayside, but not willy-nilly, only after some thoughtful consideration. So let me turn this camera around and let's get going here. Okay, many of you know that I have a coin collecting background, so I will show just one coin to represent that. This is rare. This is a truly rare die variety, like we're talking Mangini rare, Dave Blue Jacket 66 rare, Rick Vintage Oddball Cards rare. This is an 1805/4, but not only that, this is the 0103A die variety. Without going into that too much, the die was about ready to break apart, and it has a very bold 4 under the 5. So the U.S. government did strike half-dollar dies in 1804, but never used them for coinage. And so in 1805, they punched a 5 over the 4 and reused the die, which is very common. Our fledgling U.S. government did not have a lot of money for coinage. This is called the draped bust heraldic eagle because of the eagle design on the back. And this, again, is indeed a truly rare coin. Will it become, will it be sold someday along with other coins that I have in order to obtain vintage cards? Maybe. Time will tell. By the way, notice it kind of looks dark. That's because when it comes to coinage, classic U.S. coins, generally speaking, they will have tone. That's natural. And you have to show them in the light, often with magnification, in order to really appreciate them. So I do have a love for U.S. coins, classic coinage, but I really think there is a huge advantage to collecting vintage baseball cards, for example, because the pictures are much larger than a coin, and they're colorful, and they display really nicely. Coins, not so much, even though I do have a love for coinage. All right, continuing on from there, many of you know that I collect Yankee contributors. I've shown this card before. The 52 Bowman Eddie Lopat is just, one of my favorite vintage cards. I absolutely love that card. I put it in the authenticity guarantee slab because, in my humble opinion, only Eddie Lopat cards should require authenticity guarantee. All right. By the way, for many of these, I left the plastic sleeves on, but for some, I did not. So not only do I collect Yankee contributors, but I collect vintage baseball in general, just whichever players and sets speak to me. Basically, I let the cards come to me. Well, I've shown these before, but these were a couple of cards that came to me at the National, and I think I got a great buy on the pair. This 54 Red Heart Ralph Kiner in a 5. It's got some wear, but it still presents really well. And this 54 Red Heart Ted Kluszewski in a 5 as well. This one's maybe a little bit sharper, but again, it's got some minor issues. So I think these two cards well represent the way a lot of us like to go when we collect vintage, which is, cards that present well, but they're not perfect. They're in that mid-grade somewhere, whether they're graded or not. Many of us go that route and find that to be maybe, the best bang for our buck. So that represents, those two cards represent the vintage baseball cards in general that I collect, and then the Eddie Lopat represents the Yankee contributors that I collect. Well, actually, let me show one more vintage card, because this contest is for Jake having 700, went to and beyond the 755 subscriber mark. So it just wouldn't be proper not to show a Hank Aaron card. I don't think I've shown this one before, but maybe I have. 3.5, it's the Milton Bradley Game. This card is stunning for a 3.5. By the way, that white border is probably part of a football card from the original sheet, because there were different sports in this Milton Bradley Game, not just baseball cards. They say this burlap border hides the wear well on the corners. This card for a 3.5 does not have much wear on the corners. Notice it's really well centered. Back is well centered and gorgeous. Is it a perfect card? No, but wow, for a lower grade, amazing card. That was one of those where I negotiated with the seller, buy it now or best offer, and I think I spent around $100. I only point that out to say, wow, there's some really nice cards out there in that $100 range. All right, where will we go next? Well, it turns out that I do collect some Barry Bonds rookies. I guess the ones that tend to be somewhat lower pop for the most part, but are inexpensive. So I'm just I won't display these, but I'll show them off. Check this out. That's a 9 on the classic with the yellow back. And here's another classic yellow back in a 9. Here's another classic yellow back in a 9. I mean, to me, when I've gotten these for like around $20, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Another classic yellow back in a 9. Classic yellow back in a 9. You might see a theme here. But wait, the greenback, which is more scarce and more expensive. So the greenback in an 8. This is a fairly recent pickup. And I've had this card for some time. This is the greenback in a BGS 9. These are tough, and I didn't pay too much for this compared to what they're asking now, but who knows, what the actual market value is. So I do have some Barry Bonds rookies, and there's a representative of that. Now, where do we go next? What the hell? How did this chicken get in my video? All right, this chicken represents all of the cards that I'm receiving from you guys as gifts. Not that I expect any gifts, I don't. I consider that to be kind of a side PC. Any card I get as a gift, I keep those together. I'm very picky about condition, but when I get gifts, I'm not picky at all. Those just go in my gift collection, and I don't worry about condition. I've got to say, though, I got this from Doug Kahn, and I'm pretty sure this is a Gem Mint freaking 10 here. So if I were to send this in, this might just be my key to funding a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle right here. This could be, I don't know, this might be a BGS 10 with 4 perfect 10 subgrades. So that's probably Dougie K has, given me the keys to future fortunes. I just haven't been, bright enough to figure it out. So that represents all of the cards I've received from Sammy, SFI Sports cards, from Doug Kahn, from John 3D80s Collector, from Picker Jim. And so I'm really grateful. Don't expect it, but I am very grateful. All right, another side PC. I actually have 5 cards from 6970 Topps basketball, believe it or not, and I'm trying to put together just kind of the key players that I really, as the spirit moves me. So I've got 5. Who knows? Maybe I'll land at 10, but no rush. It could take years. I'm not in any big rush. So this is the number 1 Wilt in a 6.5. By the way, I was picky on centering on these. I'm usually not picky on centering, but especially left-right centering. I think these look really great when they're well-centered left to right with that oval. So I do have a collection of 6970 tops. I've got 5 of them, 5 keys, and would like to add a few more slowly over time. No big rush. Okay, where do we go next? Well, I'm going to go with Shaq. You know, the cards I've had the longest are Shaq rookies that I bought raw, and in many cases I went through dealer stock and picked out the nicest ones. I was so picky on condition, it had nothing to do with grading. It literally was some sort of disorder. So when I finally got around to sending these to SGC at $10 a piece, you know, back, I guess in 2020, before it got too crazy, I got some nice grades back. So I'm just going to show you 2 of these to represent my Shaq rookies. I still have most of them. I've given a few away or sold a few, but I've got a lot of nice Shaq rookies. For some reason, this one really appeals to me. I submitted it. It got a 9.5, but regardless of grade, I think it's because I think I actually pulled one of these out of a pack back in the day, and I took it to my local card shop, and he had a stack of them they had pulled out of boxes, and I asked him if I could upgrade mine, which looked pretty good, for one of theirs. And he said, sure. So he charged me $5, and I went through their stack and picked out the best one and gave him mine. And I think this is probably the one I picked out that got a 9.5. And then I also submitted this. I've had this one for many years as well. It got a 10 rejector. I don't know why, but I just really love this card. I think it's so awesome. So I've got some Shaq rookies. There's a side PC that I'll show off at some point. All right, where do we go next? Well, Star Company Basketball, 83 to 86 Star Company Basketball. I know some people aren't into that. Sure, the company had some issues and did some, things that were improper, but they were the only company with an NBA license for a few years there in the 80s, and they produced the earliest cards of, Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and so forth. And not only that, but some of the early cards of Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. And here's the deal. These cards are much more limited than the Topps cards. So I do collect some Star Company basketball. Let's start with Larry Bird. So there was a time when this card right here was more expensive, believe it or not, than the Bird Magic 80 Topps rookie. So you had the 3-panel card in 1980. In 81, the solo card, which would be a second-year card for Bird, and there was one for Magic. 82, nobody had an NBA license. 83, then, this card comes on the scene. It is a short print. This is the regular issue card. It's a short print because in their first series, Star had a lot of production issues, so they threw out a lot of the production. So this is a tough card. It may look a bit off-center, but actually it's pretty well centered for an 83 Star Larry Bird regular issue. Where am I at now? This card is tough and relatively scarce. And, I think it's a card where if you're patient, you don't have to pay tons of money for it. But then again, there will be sellers online asking a lot of money. That's true of most all these Star cards. I've kind of been patient and got good value in that regard. Okay, I know that Jake is into raw cards. So believe it or not, I have some raw cards. Check this out. What you are seeing here, this is the 1984 Star Larry Bird set. It's 18 cards. I actually have 2 complete sets. And so I just picked out one of my favorite cards here. Isn't that just beautiful? And showing that I have the 2 complete sets. I opened these up right out of the poly bags. This is one of the sets. I think there were maybe about 10,000 produced, possibly 15,000, which is probably the highest production that Star had. So that might be the most available Star set. So you can still get a good buy on unopened sets if you're patient. So when when we talk about Larry Bird, well, he's kind of linked with Magic Johnson and their epic feuds of the 80s. This is the 25 card 1984 Celtics champ set. And I'm just going to show one card in that set, which I think is one of the most epic cards of all time. Check that out. At some point, the basketball card hobby may wake up and value this card like they should. So this is an amazing set. By the way, it really takes you through the series. This is talking about game 4. There's like a couple cards with each game, 2 or 3. Larry Bird's turnaround jumper with 15 seconds left was the big basket as the Celtics posted their second overtime victory of the series. So this is a really amazing set. And again, somewhat limited, especially talk about from the boom era, as some people are calling it now. These cards are from the boom era, but they are relatively low in terms of the print runs, which is really cool, really appeals to me. Okay, let's move on to Magic Johnson. To me, this is just an incredibly epic depiction of Magic Johnson here. This is from his the 84 star All-Star Game set. By the way, I'm not showing all my star cards by any means, just a sampling. Wow, just love that card. Another card that I think is underrated in the hobby. Well, can you collect Magic without collecting Kareem? So check this out. This is the 1985 star 18 card Kareem set. Raw, because I know Jake likes raw cards. Look at that. Just a beautiful set. Kareem with his skyhook over Moses Malone, perhaps the most underrated basketball player in all of history, the 3-time MVP Moses Malone. So this is the entire Jabbar set. But how about this? The 86-star Best of the Old Kareem. This is probably the most limited star set. This is a tough card. It's possible as few as 440 of these were produced. And, how many of them remain in a high grade like this? This is a really, really tough card. Go try to find one. I'm supposed to be putting some cards up here. I think I've been falling off on the job. Well, let's put this one up. There we go. Let's put this one up. Sorry about that. And now let's put the Best of the Old Kareem over here. Okay. Well, if you're going to collect Star Company basketball cards, how about Dr. J? This is the 85-star 18-card set devoted entirely to Dr. J. Just going to show you a couple of beauties. Look at that. Outrageous photography. Wow. And here's another one. I mean, look at that. That is just amazing. So, I don't really want to take any of these down. I've got to keep that epic bird magic up a little longer, so I'll put this over here. And Dr. J in a Mint 9, really scarce Best of the Old. I mean, I'm not collecting cards for investment purposes, but for what I paid for this card, it would not surprise me at all if it ends up being worth several times what I paid because, I mean, come on, this is just a really scarce Dr. J card. I guess I better put that one up here. And where do we go from here? I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I think we are closing it out. I don't have the 101, though. The 84-star Jordan rookie, the 101, I used to at one point and I sold it, which is sad from a collecting standpoint as well as a value standpoint. I sold my star cards at one point in order to get coins because I was more into coins, yada, yada. But anyway, I have picked up some Jordan stars, not the 101, along the way. And so here is one of them. I just love this card. The 84-star Olympic Michael Jordan. By the way, much tougher than the 101. Look at this beauty. Off center, which is really common for a lot of star cards and very common for this particular star card. So definitely off center, but other than that, just super sharp, vibrant red all the way around, which is really nice to see on this card. This is a tough, tough card. And, one that I was patient and did not pay, nearly as much as what they are often asking for these cards. So happy to have that in my collection. I think I just showed, at least a representative of everything that I collect. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for sharing in my joy. I hope you had a wonderful and peaceful time in the Vintage Sanctuary.